Today, I'm going to be ranking every single VR game, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which game you should be playing right now. So let's start with Battle Glide, which is the closest thing to feeling like Spider-Man in VR. Swinging through the air feels exhilarating, with smooth and satisfying mechanics that keep you coming back for more. I even made a video searching for the ultimate Spider-Man game, and this one came out on top. This game nails its concept, so we're giving this an A. Roblox is a bit of a mixed bag for me. In my last video, I ranked Roblox terribly, and it deserved it. It feels like they just ported in the PC Roblox into VR, and not all the games support VR in the first place. So yeah, it was just a crappy way to expand into the VR market. I'm not for it at all. So we're gonna give Roblox an F. Raccoon combines the fun of socializing with a wide variety of polished minigames. Unlike VRChat, it feels like an actual game rather than just a social hub. And the consistent art style and mechanics make every experience feel cohesive. You can meet friends while playing games, which is where it shines. The downside, well, you know, it's full of kids, which can be off-putting, but overall, it's a great example of what a social VR game should be. It's definitely my go-to game, and it's a must-have, so this has to go into the S tier. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna be showing you guys a game that's a hidden gem. So Bonelab builds on everything that made Boneworks great, but it didn't meet my sky-high expectation. While the physics and gameplay mechanics are still incredible, the lack of story, it was just a big disappointment, honestly. And not to build in multiplayer, that's a complete missed opportunity. Still though, despite these flaws, it's still a blast to play and improves on areas where Boneworks fell short. It's just not the sequel I was hoping for. So I'm giving Bonelab a B. It's a high B though. Walkabout Mini Golf is a masterclass in taking real life mini golf and making it even better in VR. The polished mechanics make it feel incredibly realistic, and the courses are just like mini works of art, ranging from fun and simple to absolutely stunning. It takes everything you love about mini golf and cranks it up a notch. But at the end of the day, it's still mini golf, so while it's fantastic for what it is, it's not gonna blow your mind. So for me personally, it ranks as C, but remember, these are the top VR games, so C is still a pretty good grade. Monkey Do may share some similarities with Gorilla Tag, but it stands out by going above and beyond the typical clone formula. While other games feel like lazy knockoffs, Monkey Do offers a fresh experience. They didn't stop at just the basics. They added cosmetics, cool updates, unique game modes, and even a hidden lore that's actually surprisingly fun to explore. I even made a whole video about it. Anyways, it feels like the developers cared about creating something original, and that makes it worth playing. It's also free, by the way, so yeah, you gotta check it out. I'm gonna give this a high B. Actually, in comparison, this deserves a C. A C is still pretty good, guys. This is the only one that's bad. Superhot VR is a I can't say this word. Arcade-style game that thrives on physical movement. It's one of those VR games where you feel like the hardware, it was made for it. The time manipulation mechanics are just brilliant, and you'll use your whole body to dodge bullets, throw punches, and outwit enemies. But what I love most is the progression. You know, you start off clumsy, but as you advance, you truly feel like John Wick, executing flawless and cinematic moves. So I'm gonna rank Superhot a B. Thrill of the Fight is probably one of the most fun way to get a massive workout in VR. The one-on-one fights are intense, and the progression of facing tougher and tougher opponents just feels great. That said, there's only so much you can do before it starts to feel like you're just throwing punches. And also, sweating VR, it just feels terrible. It's quite a massive downside, but you know, at least you're working out. And compared to real boxing, you know, it lacks a depth of strategy, but as a VR boxing game, it's still an awesome experience. That's why it's gonna get a C. It's just not my cup of tea though. Gorilla Tag is a perfect example of a game that thrives on simplicity. Using only your arms to move around, it offers a unique challenge that keeps you hooked. The constant updates, cosmetics, and variety of maps, and the game modes give it depth and progression. But come on guys, let's be real. This thing is so hard. I've sunk countless hours into this game, yet I still feel like a noob compared to the pros swinging around effortlessly. It's frustratingly addictive, which is probably why it's so popular. So Gorilla Tag deserves a B. Meta Horizon has come a long way, and I have to give credit where credit's due. Every time I check in, it's drastically different, evolving into something much more enjoyable. At this point, it's starting to feel like a second Rec Room, with its growing variety of activities and social features. It's not quite there yet, but I can see it becoming a go-to hangout spot for VR users. The constant updates show promise, and I'm actually slowly warming up to it. So I'm gonna rank this a C. Beat Saber has solidified itself as one of the most iconic VR games for a good reason. The gameplay is simple, but incredibly satisfying. All you do is slash blocks to the beat of a great music. That said, it can get a bit still over time. I mean, even with the frequent updates. It reminds me of when I used to play Geometry Dash, where they did have precision and rhythm in common. I feel like Geometry Dash focused more on just immersing you into the world. In Beat Saber, you either get hooked and dive into it fully, or you just try it once and move on. Still, the mechanics are just so well executed that it's hard to fault it. Yeah, it's a solid B. Alright, VRChat. VRChat is like stepping into a fan-made universe, which is both its biggest strength and weakness. The sheer creativity creativity of custom avatars and worlds is impressive. It allows for endless possibilities. Yes, endless possibilities. You can chat with people in surreal environments or participate in community-made games. But for me, it's often chaotic and overwhelming. I mean, if you're into socializing VR, it's a great tool, but I just can't shake the feeling that people use it to cope their insecurities of actually, you know, socializing in the real world. So I can see how people can love this game. I guess you could call it a game. For me, I don't know. I'm gonna put an F tier. Although there's a few worlds and a few people that you play with, it actually makes it very enjoyable. So let's just put it on a C. Aircar may be a simpler experience, but it's one of the most immersive in VR. Flying through a neon-lit cyberpunk city is actually breathtaking. With the ambient music and visuals, they just pull you in completely. I mean, the game doesn't offer much beyond flying, but that's okay. It delivers such a strong sense of presence that it feels like a glimpse into what VR could achieve in the future. I just wish that this concept was expanded into like a full AAA game. Definitely try this out if you're new to VR and want to have a crazy, like, futuristic experience. Like, this is great. Workshop Simulator VR, a must-play for anyone who loves to get their hands on in the virtual world. This game allows you to build, craft, and create in a variety of workshop environments where you can use the tools and materials to make everything from simple furniture to complex mechanical devices. With a highly interactive and immersive VR experience, Workshop Simulator VR offers a unique take on simulation games by giving you a realistic feeling of working with your hands. And whether you're an inspiring DIY enthusiast or just looking for a fun way to pass time, this game offers hours of creative gameplay that's both relaxing and satisfying. If this sounds fun to you guys, make sure to dive into Workshop Simulator VR and unleash your creativity below. Phasmophobia is one of those games that evolves over time, kind of. The paranormal investigations are always tense and unpredictable, but with all the updates it's received, I'm curious to see how this experience has changed. For my last video, I tried to play it and it just wasn't working. It wouldn't boot up, it was lagging, and I couldn't go into multiplayer. So that dropped my experience from like almost an A to a low B. I mean, I just can't compare with VRChat, so we're gonna put it in a B. When Among Us VR first launched, I have to admit I was disappointed, and I wasn't alone feeling that way. The gameplay just felt underwhelming, and it lacked a spark of the original game. But over time, updates and new maps have made it much more enjoyable. The Among Us trend is long gone. I mean, the game is fun, but I mean, do people still play this? Is also going to a C. Ever wanted to try your hand at mixing drinks in a bar environment? Well, with Bartender VR Simulator, you can do just that. In this entertaining simulation, you'll step into the shoes of a bartender, mixing cocktails and serving customers in a fast-paced VR setting. The game features realistic physics, so you'll need to master the art of cocktail creation, pouring, shaking, and garnishing your drinks just right to please your customers. Whether you're perfecting classic cocktails or experimenting with new creations, Bartender VR Simulator offers a fun and interactive experience that's perfect for anyone who loves mixology or just wants to unwind with a bit of bartending fun. If you're ready to show off some of your bartending skills, mix up some fun with Bartender VR Simulator today by clicking the link below. Blade and Sorcery is a technical marvel when it comes to melee combat. The physics and weapon handling are incredibly realistic, making every swing feel impactful, but for me, it just didn't quite click, you know? Maybe because I'm biased for, you know, Bonelab. I mean, Blade and Sorcery is undeniably great. It's just not my style in comparison. Still a great game though, so let's put it in a high B. Pavlov VR is one of the best multiplayer shooters in VR. It doesn't aim for hyper realism like Onward, but it nails a fast-paced, fun gameplay that keeps you coming back. With so many game modes, custom maps, and a thriving community, there's always something new to try. It's a perfect blend of accessibility and depth, making it one of the most replayable VR shooters out there. So yeah, this is also getting a B tier. Man, we gotta start filling up some A tiers. You guys will see them soon. 11 Table Tennis is an absolute standout for its realism. I mean, the physics are just so accurate that it actually feels like you're playing ping pong. And if you haven't had like the weird accessory of like the paddle for that you can attach to the controller, it definitely enhances the immersion even further. And whether you're practicing for a competition online, it's such a simple concept, but it's executed perfectly with its physics, and that's why it shines. And so for what it is, ping pong, it does it very well. That's why, yeah, this is probably gonna go into the A tier. Moon VR Player is not just another game, but an essential tool for every VR enthusiast. It's a video playing app that allows you to immerse yourself in your favorite films and videos in a whole new way. And whether you're watching 3D content or regular videos, Moon VR Player provides a truly immersive experience. One of the standout features is a real-time lighting reflection, which adds a new layer of realism to your viewing experience. Additionally, the app now includes a pretty sick-looking penthouse scene, offering you a high-quality dynamic environment to enhance your media. The app is packed with features designed to give you a cinematic experience in VR, and whether you're watching movies, shows, or even user-generated content. By the way, you guys can use this code up here on screen to get 40% off to start experiencing your content like never before. Check it out, link down below in the description. The mechanics in Penguin Paradise are actually surprisingly good. Dare I say, better than Gorilla Tag in some ways. Sliding around as a penguin is undeniably fun. I mean, Gorilla Tag dominates when it comes to maps, gameplay variety, and just player engagement. And whereas Penguin Paradise does have its charm, but it feels like a lighter, less memorable experience. So I'm gonna give it a C. Population 1 is one of those games that truly defines VR multiplayer. I mean, it has everything you want. It's fast-paced action, fun mechanics, and a level of verticality that sets it apart. It reminds me of the first seasons of Fortnite and just how fresh and exciting it feels. That said, I do wish it made a little better use of VR's unique capabilities, especially like when it comes to guns. It's just such a minor con. There's not much I can think about besides that. This game is definitely 1000% a must-have, and the fact that it's free makes it even a better deal. So we're definitely gonna rank Population 1 the S tier. So I went to Contractors Showdown with, I say low expectations, and came out pleasantly surprised. It feels like how when Call of Duty jumped the Battle Royale trend with Warzone. Yeah, this game captures the same energy, with polished gun mechanics and gameplay that's challenging enough to keep you on your toes. But unlike Population 1, this game feels geared towards serious gamers, and it delivers an experience that rewards skill and strategy. Even though I'm not a fan of like those kind of games, like I never played Warzone. That was more something like my brother did. I was more a Fortnite guy, which also I guess explains why I put Population 1 in the S tier. However, like I said, Contractors did surprise me, and I actually really enjoyed it, so it's gonna go into the A tier. EvoPunk VR is a fast-paced base defense shooter that throws you into the heat of the battle against a demon army. Step into a dark world where the fate of humanity rests in your hands. As you defend your church, you must fight back waves of enemy using a variety of weapons and tactics. The game blends roguelike and tower defense mechanics, with each level offering increasingly intense action and strategy. With awesome physics and a unique dark fantasy setting, EvoPunk VR keeps you on the edge of your seat. Or, I guess there is no seat. You won't be sitting for this one. Prepare for non-stop action and fast reflexes as you defend your base and uncover the mysteries lurking in the shadows. Dive into EvoPunk VR below and see if you have what it takes to save the church. Bigscreen is a great concept allowing you to connect your PC to watch shows, movies, and even play games in virtual environment. But I just wish it went a step further and recreated the experience of being in an actual cinema. If it had that level of immersion, it would easily be an S tier experience. I mean, you know, the whole experience of going into the movie theaters, you know, you buy the tickets, you go with your friends. If you can replicate that in VR, it's actually not that weird as what it sounds. But because of copyrights and I don't know, people just don't trust VR cinemas, it's dropping down to an A tier. It's still a cool experience though. Like you can still do a lot. Minecraft VR is exactly what you expect. I mean, it's the same Minecraft you know and love, but in VR. It works great, and it's an awesome way to experience the game from a new perspective. However, it's not an entirely new experience. I mean, the fact that you have to mod it just to play it is a bit of a downside. But if you are curious, I have made a whole video showing how to get it running on the Meta Quest 3. So if you do want to watch that full guide, make sure to go watch it on the top right of the screen here. Richie's playing experience is one of the best examples of a game that knows exactly what it wants to do and nails it. Its design is to trigger your fear of heights, and it does so masterfully. That's a weird word I never used, masterfully. The high quality graphics, added mini games, and features like aligning a real plank with a virtual one shows how much care went into its development. I mean, honestly, it would be an S tier just from the experience alone, but the steep price tag, yeah, that's, bro, why is it so expensive? It's just, it should be like a free little experience, but oh well. Next is YouTube VR. I know this isn't a game, but if you're watching this video and enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe to my channel, Diamond. Help me reach 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. The end of this year is coming so soon. I'm gonna be quitting YouTube by the end of this year, and my all-time goal is to reach 100,000 subscribers, boys, and we're actually pretty close. I believe this video is gonna get quite a lot of attention, so if you guys can help me subscribe and help me reach 100,000 subscribers, it would mean the world to me. So thank you guys so much, and yeah, we can move on. Digigods is a casual, fun game where you can build your own arenas and battle out with others. It feels like Rec Room in its early days, offering a mix of creativity and action. While it still has some rough edges and areas that need improvement, it's great for lighthearted fun and experimentation. The potential for growth is definitely there, and what's available now is already actually pretty enjoyable. I'm gonna give this a C tier. It's dead. RIP. Echo VR is one of the most iconic VR games, but GG's. Arcade Ranger is a game where you can build your own virtual arcade. You can customize your room by placing arcade cabinets and even load ROMs to play classic games. However, it's not a game in and of itself, which is, I found, a little disappointing. It's more of an environment in which you can then download ROMs and, you know, play classic games. It's a cool concept that taps into the nostalgia, but the appeal will depend on how much you enjoy building and just reliving retro gaming. Very niche. I'm gonna give this a C tier. Actually, I have the arcade, and it's actually pretty cool. I'm gonna give this a B tier instead. Down the Rabbit Hole is a whimsical puzzle adventure game inspired by Alice in Wonderland. It offers creative puzzles and a charming storybook-like world that's both magical and immersive. I played this with my ex a while back, and we both really loved it. One of the coolest features is the way you can shift into first person to solve certain puzzles. The whole game just kind of reminds me of Lucky's Tale. Anyways, unfortunately, we did get stuck on like one level and just couldn't move on. But the creativity and charm make it a game worth revisiting. It's a solid B tier. Man, we're filling up the B tier. VOLLEGGball is one of the most hidden games I've stumbled upon while exploring random games in a video titled Random Games, and it surprised me in the best way. It takes a core movement and fun of volleyball and somehow translate them into VR incredibly well. I never would have expected VR to capture the athleticism of volleyball, but this game simulates it decently enough to be enjoyable. It's a great example of VR finding fun in unexpected places. It still ranks like a low C. Blaston is a creative game that fully embraces the physical aspect of VR. You're constantly dodging bullets and reaching for weapons, making it feel like a mix of dodgeball and a duel. It's fast-paced and quite addictive, but the strategy element feels light and the progression aspect isn't very deep. I like to think of it of a VR version of Clash Royale. Simple, quick fun, but not much beyond that. Yeah, this is also going to a B tier. Looking at the ranking now, I don't really like it. Let's make some adjustments. So I'm gonna move Gorilla Tag and Bonelab up because, I mean, come on, in comparison to these games, like, yeah, they're pretty high up there. Robo Recall is a classic VR title that somehow still holds up years later. You'd think newer games would outshine it, but the original charm and polished gameplay remain as strong as ever. It does start to feel repetitive after a while, but for what it is, it's a must-try for anyone exploring VR routes. Okay, the game is like a AAA game. It's like an A tier game, but personally for me, I'm gonna give it a C. I have to admit, I haven't played much of Half-Life Alyx. I mean, I own the game, but I barely made it through the first level. However, from the little I've experienced, it's clear why this game gets so much hype. I mean, it's polished, it's immersive, and everything you'd expect from a AAA VR title. It's like the most AAA of AAA VR titles. I'd love to dive in deeper when I have more time, but as for now, I'm judging it based on what I've seen and played. And yeah, I mean, I can't give it anything below an A tier. Onward was the first VR game I bought back on the original Oculus Rift. If whoever knows what I'm talking about, go right in the comments. And it still holds a special place for me. Everything about it, the tactical gameplay, the immersive environments, and the teamwork, it just works. Over the years, the community has changed. Lots of more kids now, for example. And my computer, for some reason, just can't run it anymore, even though I have upgraded my computer since, which is kind of strange. But I have one of the best VR memories in this game. So years ago, I would have ranked it a solid A, but now I'm gonna have to drop it down to B. Egg VR is surprisingly fun and a quirky game that combines Gorilla Tag style movement with simplicity of a tag game. The twist, well, you tag by cracking an egg open, and it's oddly satisfying when you pull it off. The mechanics are fun, but the maps feel a bit too large in my opinion, which can make navigating them take longer than it should. Despite that, it's just great fun and a simple concept. I'm gonna give it a solid C. Boys, I just realized I forgot to do Minecraft. We're gonna give it a B, why not? Hyperdash is an underrated gem in the world of VR shooters. It's a fast-paced arcade-style game where you're thrown straight into action, making it perfect for quick, intense matches. The movement mechanics like dashing and rail grinding give it a unique edge and make every match feel dynamic. It's easy to pick up, but offers just enough challenge to keep you coming back for more. If you're looking for a quick dopamine hit, this is definitely the game for you. It's actually like surprisingly good. It's a high B. I don't know if it's an A by all means. Yeah, we'll give it a B. And finally, we made it to the hidden gem. Gym Class is another game like Gorilla Tag that surprises you with how much fun it is despite its simplicity. The mechanics are straightforward, but you can actually improve your skills over time, making it rewarding to play. The community is also great. Every time I hopped in, the players have been just super nice and very helpful trying to, you know, teach me how to dunk, which makes the experience even more enjoyable. It's surprisingly fun, and every time I hop in, I just have a great time. It does really feel like basketball in VR, which that's why it's such a hidden gem. So this is gonna go into the A tier. Well, these are all the top VR games, but what about the worst one? Well, you guys can click on this video to see the 1-star rated VR games. These games are so bad, it's laughable. You'll see what I mean if you watch the video. It's up here on screen. Oh, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. Help me reach 100,000 subscribers, boys, please.